Welcome to the Beyond Bloated Podcast. I'm Carly, a certified health coach helping women under 50 ditch their bloat without having to follow super strict and stressful protocols. As someone who's struggled with all sorts of digestive issues for over 5 years, I know exactly how you're feeling. I also know that there's a way to feel better, and it doesn't have to involve tons of expensive supplements and insanely restrictive diets. Join me as I share all of my bloat-busting wisdom to help you say goodbye to that bloated belly and regain your confidence. It's time for you to move beyond bloated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Beyond Bloated Podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be so much fun. I have so much knowledge about gut health, bloating, all the symptoms that you're probably experiencing that I'm so excited to share with you, which is why I've started this podcast. So you might be wondering, who am I and why do I have all of this knowledge on gut health? Fair question. My name is Carly, and I am a certified health coach specializing in helping women under 50 eliminate their bloating without having to follow any super strict protocols. I'm also the founder of my health coaching business, Beyond Bloated, hence why this podcast is named the Beyond Bloated Podcast. I graduated from the Natural Nutrition Coach Certification Program in 2024, and that's what led me to become certified as a health coach. And on top of that, I have tons and tons of personal experience dealing with my own digestive issues for over 5 years. As many health coaches do, I did not start off in the health and wellness business, so I actually have university degrees in mathematics and in education. So obviously, I changed my mind. I pursued that for a while, and then my passion for health, gut health in particular, just really took over, and I said, okay, I need to help people with their gut issues because what I experienced was so horrible and traumatic, really. So if I have any knowledge that I can share with people, I must do it. So that really is the purpose of this podcast. I want to share with you a bunch of knowledge that I have on gut health, bloating, all the things you want to know, because I've experienced so much over these last 5 years that I'm going to speed track you into having this knowledge without having to go through all the pain and suffering that I went through. So that being said, if there is a topic in particular that you would like for me to cover, let me know. You can reach out to me on Instagram at beyond.bloated, or you can send me an email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. Today's episode is going to be a little warm-up for you. So we're going to talk about why gut health matters. What is the importance? What's the impact on your overall well-being? Why do we care? Gut health is definitely a hotter topic now than it was 5-6 years ago. I know when my gut issues started about 5-6 years ago, I had never even heard the term gut health. I didn't know what it meant. I thought health was health. There's no particular aspect of health that's related to the gut. That doesn't make any sense. Boy, was I wrong. Once I started learning about gut health, oh my God, my eyes were bulging out of my head. I was like, what? There's this whole aspect of health that was never ever taught to me in school, never heard about it on the news. My doctors have never mentioned it. Why is this such a big secret? So just in case you also weren't let in on this big secret, we're going to talk about it today to make sure everybody's up to speed. We all know what gut health is and why it is crucial. So important. Probably the most important aspect of health. So the gut is also known as the gastrointestinal tract, or GI tract for short, which I'm going to say because the other word is very long and I'm going to mess it up. Your GI tract consists of the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the colon. Another fun word that you've probably heard thrown around a lot these days is the microbiome. The microbiome is basically like a community of bacteria and other microorganisms that live inside of your gut. A healthy gut has a balanced microbiome. So all the bacteria and microorganisms living in there are good and there are bad. That is completely normal. But in a balanced microbiome, the good outweighs the bad. The good kind of keeps the bad in check so that the bad bacteria don't grow out of control and start causing digestive issues. What a lot of people don't know is that good gut health is essential for way more than just digestion. So yes, digestion, of course, nutrient absorption as well, which kind of like goes along with digestion. But good gut health also impacts your immune function and your inflammation response. Approximately 70 to 80% of the body's immune system resides in the gut. So if you find that you're getting sick a lot, or when you do get sick, you get really sick, basically you just have a not so great immune system, working on your gut health is going to help with that significantly. I know that from personal experience. When I was in university, I was sick all the time. I was also extremely unhealthy. I did not eat well. I did not exercise. I drank a lot of alcohol. I was a mess. And I was sick almost every single month. I would get infections all the time. But since now I have improved my gut health significantly, I rarely ever get sick. I actually went through about a 4-year span during COVID that I did not get sick one time. I recently did get sick again, but it didn't last very long. My boyfriend has been sick about 3 times this past year and a bit. We live together. I didn't catch his cold. My immune system is so much stronger because my gut health is so much better. Backing up to the digestive piece. So when your microbiome is out of whack, it's not balanced. There are many reasons why that could be. Overuse of antibiotics, overconsumption of alcohol, eating a standard American diet, lots of different reasons. So your microbiome is out of whack. It's not doing what it's supposed to. So now enter digestive issues, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. And if we allow this to go on for long enough, eventually this can lead to more serious conditions like inflammatory bowel diseases or celiac disease. These conditions are typically triggered by a fun little thing called leaky gut. Leaky gut is also known as intestinal permeability. I'm not great with the big words here. So, kind of what it sounds like. The gut lining basically develops bigger holes than it should have, because normally the lining of your intestines acts as like a barrier, and that allows nutrients to pass into the bloodstream while keeping out harmful substances like bacteria, toxins, undigested food particles, things we don't want in the blood. But when leaky gut develops, this barrier becomes compromised because now these holes are too big and it's letting too much in. So harmful substances leak through the intestinal wall and into your bloodstream. This triggers inflammation, immune responses, and food intolerances. Factors like your diet, stress levels, medications you're taking, and imbalances in that gut microbiome, like we talked about, all contribute to leaky gut. To put it very simply, leaky gut is basically like having holes in a fence, and this fence is supposed to keep out unwanted guests. And when these holes in the fence develop, harmful substances sneak through the fence, causing problems in your backyard, or in this case, in your body. The good news is that leaky gut is not something you have to live with forever. So unfortunately, a lot of people have leaky gut, and most of these people don't know that they have leaky gut. It's not something that you can just go and get tested for at the blood clinic or whatever. But if one day you are fine with a bunch of foods, you're not having digestive issues, and then all of a sudden you're experiencing pain in the gut, diarrhea, bloating, food sensitivities that you never used to have, that is a very strong indicator that you have developed leaky gut. And you not only have developed it, but it has gotten very out of control. I know this because it happened to me. When I turned 24, all of a sudden I could no longer eat pretty much everything that I used to eat. I would get extreme pain in my gut. I would be running to the washroom and have explosive diarrhea multiple times in a day. I was bloated 24/7, also constipated, which yes, you can be constipated and have diarrhea at the same time. So really not fun, not cool, but it happened to me out of nowhere. Now fast forward to today and my digestive system is working miles better. Miles better. I'm not constipated anymore. I'm not having gut pains every time I eat. I'm no longer having explosive diarrhea several times a day. Actually 0 times a day. So big improvement there. When these things first happened to me, my first instinct was, oh my God, poor me. This sucks. I have bad genes, like, why me? But, like, now that I know what I know, it happened to me because I did this to myself. Like I told you earlier, I had a terrible lifestyle in university. I was very unhealthy, and my gut hated me for it. Understandable. But you can change it. Just because you have gut issues now does not mean you have gut issues forever. I am living proof. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it is hard work. It does not happen overnight, but it is so, so worth it. So worth it. And it probably won't take you as long as it took me because I did this all by myself because no one would help me. And I tried to get help, but I was shrugged off. I was told it's in my head. I was told bloating is normal. So I had to start from the bottom, knowing absolutely nothing about gut health, getting zero help, and figuring it out for myself. A lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes, but now you have me. And I'm going to tell you exactly what worked, what did not, and we're going to get your gut working again. Now, since this is the Beyond Bloated podcast, obviously a big topic is bloating. So I'm going to jump into some common causes of bloating because that's probably why a lot of you are here. You're bloated all the time and you don't know why. Now, number one is basically what we just talked about, gut dysbiosis. So that is the microbiome being out of balance because of a number of reasons, really. So I won't go into too much detail about that since we just discussed it, but having an imbalance in your gut is going to cause bloating and a ton of other symptoms. So making sure you balance that gut bacteria is really, really going to help your bloating. Probably the most obvious factor is your diet. So this is going to, actually all of these things that I'm going to talk about are going to contribute to gut dysbiosis, but I'll talk about them individually anyway. So your diet, like I said earlier, the standard American diet. So that's like tons of ultra processed foods, not enough fiber, you're drinking too much alcohol, not enough water. Basically, your diet is fast food, packaged food, not a lot of homemade, like whole food meals. Our good gut bacteria love water, they love fiber, they love whole foods, they hate the other shit. They hate it. So, yeah, you're going to be not feeding the good gut bacteria. They're going to be dying off. And the bad bacteria, they love the fast food, the greasy, the slimy burgers from you know where. Yeah, diet is a big one, which I'm sure you're aware. Now, like I said, you're eating this standard American diet, which is contributing to gut dysbiosis. So now you have an imbalance in your gut. Now you've developed leaky gut, and now you have food intolerances. Happened to me. So gluten and dairy are two of the biggest triggers for bloat because they are two of the most common food sensitivities. Now, just because you are sensitive to these foods now does not mean you will be sensitive to them forever. If you are celiac, unfortunately, you will be allergic to gluten forever because that is an autoimmune disease and it cannot be reversed. But if you have a sensitivity or an intolerance, that can be reversed. It also largely depends on the quality of the gluten and dairy that you are eating. So the gluten in Canada and the US is actual garbage. If you pick up a loaf of bread, even if it's brown bread, unless you're at like a super fancy bakery, you go to the grocery store, you pick up brown bread, the ingredients are like enriched bleached wheat flour or something like that. That means that the grain of wheat has been so processed that there is absolutely no nutritional value left in that grain. So they take the whole grain of wheat, destroy it, take everything nutritious out of it, then put it in the food that you're eating and sell it to you. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, my bread says on it, made with whole grains. Yeah, it once was a whole grain. They destroyed that. It is no longer a whole grain. Food packages lie, and I will get into that in so much more detail in another episode. So what you actually want to look for is an ingredient list that says whole grain, like whole wheat grain, not processed, not enriched, not bleached. It's very rare. Trust me, go looking through your cupboards. You're not going to find much unless you've specifically sought it out. And if you've already become intolerant to gluten, even that might be no good for you still. you can work on improving your gut health, and eventually you might be able to add back gluten, but I would recommend you stick to the high quality, actually nutritious whole grains, not the processed garbage that's in 90% of packaged food out there. Same thing applies to dairy. The dairy in Canada and the US, conventional dairy as we call it, super processed. All the nutrients have been wiped. It's not beneficial. I know dairy farmers promote strong bones, but there are studies out there that have proven women who drink significant amount of cow dairy milk from these countries have more bone fractures. So again, everything is a lie. I personally have been gluten dairy free for almost 6 years now. Don't miss it one bit. Yes, at first it was devastating and it was a learning curve to get over it, but I don't miss it. I can eat goat dairy and like sheep dairy. So if you want to give those a try, they're easier to digest than cow. So you don't have to completely go dairy free if you're okay with those. Otherwise, there are so many dairy free products that are legitimately good. My boyfriend is not dairy free. He doesn't need to be, and he isn't. But I buy dairy free products for myself, and now he started buying them for himself because he's like, oh, these are good. I actually like them. They're not bad. Yes, they don't taste the same as dairy because it's not the same, but it's still good. So to wrap up this diet section of causes to bloat, eating a standard American diet, garbage. If you have food intolerances, they're not necessarily forever, but I do recommend you avoid obvious triggers for the time being. Because if you know when you eat gluten, you blow up like a balloon, you get pain in your gut, you're running to the washroom, you're hurting your body, you're causing inflammation, you're not going to be able to improve your gut health if you're constantly putting your body through this kind of stress. So I know it sucks to hear, but you're going to have to give it up. If you have a couple food groups that you're a little suspect of, like gluten or dairy, and you want to figure it out, you could try an elimination diet. So that's where you remove gluten and dairy from your diet for, I would recommend, at least a 3-week period. And then one at a time, you add it back. So you would try dairy for at least 3 days. You would consistently eat dairy for 3 days. And if you're fine, then add gluten for 3 days. See how you feel. If you have a reaction, please stop eating it. Please stop hurting yourself. It's just bread. There's other bread. It's good, I promise. Speaking of stress, the stress that you're putting your body through while eating food it doesn't want you to, stress is a huge cause of bloat. So physical stress, like you're eating things that your body is reacting to, that's going to cause inflammation in the body and your body is going to be stressed out. But there's also the mental stress. So you're stressed out about your health, your work, your relationships, your family, money, whatever it is. This chronic stress is going to cause inflammation. Once again, it's going to cause leaky gut and it's going to cause digestive issues. The sympathetic nervous system is also known as the fight or flight mode that our bodies go into when we're stressed. And when we're in this state, our bodies cannot properly digest literally anything because we're in like flee mode. So our bodies aren't like relaxed and ready to digest. As you'll learn throughout this podcast, digestion is like a huge process. It's not, I ate the food, it goes to my stomach, all done. There's so many things that happen in your gut that you're unaware of that are not functioning properly when you're stressed. Like you're not creating enough stomach acid to digest the food. That's a big one. When we're in a fight or flight response, your body is prioritizing functions that are immediately necessary for survival. Like your body thinks we are going to die when you are stressed out. And when you're constantly stressed out, your body constantly is in survival mode. So your heart rate increases, your airways dilate, blood flow redirects to like your extremities so that you're ready to like fight, literally fight. Nobody is digesting dinner while they're in the middle of a fight. So what we want to do is get our body's parasympathetic nervous system activated. That is rest and digest. That is what we need. So how do we do this? Do not eat with distractions. If you're at work and you've got 10 minutes to eat, you can't eat at your desk while you're on your laptop. You need to make more time and you need to sit away from your desk, away from your phone, just you and your food, chilling. You need to take deep breaths, so deep belly breaths. in particular. That's going to help calm your body down, get yourself into rest and digest mode. Humming, singing, gurgling, those all activate the vagus nerve, which is one of the longest and most important nerves in the entire body. It's also a key component of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest response. It actually starts all the way up in the brain and extends all the way down through the neck and into the abdomen. Huge, huge nerve. It helps to stimulate the production of stomach acid, which I said is super crucial for digesting your food. Digestive enzymes, also crucial, and bile. Also facilitates the movement of food through the GI tract, which helps relieve constipation. And bonus fact, stimulation of the vagus nerve, so that's by doing like the singing, humming, gurgling, has been studied. And it's potentially going to be used as a therapy for various health conditions like depression, epilepsy, and inflammatory diseases. So activating the vagus nerve before you eat, or just regularly throughout the day, like if you're finding you're stressed out for whatever reason, take a minute. Take deep breaths, hum, sing in the shower, whatever you got to do. It will help calm you down. It will improve your digestion. Okay, final cause of bloat that I'm going to talk about today. Common cause of bloat, hormone imbalances. So unfortunately, as women, we got the short straw on our hormones. Men have it so easy with their hormones. Ours fluctuate significantly in a 28-day cycle. And depending on where you're at in your cycle, your symptoms could be worse or better. And it's just a lot more common for women to have hormone imbalances than men. Now, what exactly is a hormone imbalance? A hormone imbalance occurs when a person has too much or too little of a certain hormone. And these hormones could include insulin, cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, a few others, but those are some of the more common ones. And even the slightest change can have a significant effect on your health. One of the most common hormone imbalances that impacts digestive health specifically is an estrogen dominance. Other symptoms of estrogen dominance includes infertility, PMS, mood swings, weight gain, or low libido. And sadly, estrogen dominance is becoming extremely common these days. Doesn't make it normal, should not happen, but it is happening. And things like chronic stress, birth control, hormonal birth control, the food that we eat, there's endocrine disruptors in our food and in our personal care products. Basically, these are things that mimic estrogen. So on top of watching what you eat, you also need to watch out for personal care products that have harmful ingredients. It never ends, honestly. Some of the ways that you can limit your exposure to ingredients and other things that are causing estrogen dominance are to, 1, eat clean food. So buy organic whenever possible, especially if it's on the dirty dozen. Pesticides are endocrine disruptors. They're going to mess with your hormones. If you can afford organic, buy it. If you can only afford certain organic, look at the dirty dozen list, buy those organic. Buying non-toxic beauty and cleaning supplies is going to help because a lot of them are filled with chemicals and other endocrine disruptors like fragrance. And if you are able to limit your exposure, that's really going to help. Don't just throw out everything you own and start replacing it because that's going to be very expensive. But as you run out of your all-purpose cleaner, purchase a better quality one. Or as you run out of your foundation, purchase a better quality one. You can use ewg.org to look up cosmetics and cleaning products, and it gives it a clean rating. So I think it's from A to F. F is a fail. So obviously you want A is ideal, B, you get away with it. It's unfortunate that we have to go to these lengths to make sure that our beauty products and our cleaning products and our food doesn't contain poison. But sadly, that's the world that we live in. So the more aware you are of it, like I said, slowly start replacing your products as you can, and you'll maybe start to see a difference in how you feel. All right, that's as far as I'm going to go on the hormonal imbalances aspect of bloat causing factors, because I can do a whole episode on hormone imbalances. There's so many different causes. There's a lot to talk about. So we're going to stop there. And just to summarize the causes of bloating, we've got gut dysbiosis, your diet, stress, and hormonal imbalances. As I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, I help women under 50 eliminate bloat without super strict protocols. So my approach to eliminating bloat doesn't include like insanely restrictive diets where you're avoiding like a whole list of fruits and vegetables and grains. That's just insanely stressful and not realistic. Like, yes, maybe you can do that for a couple weeks at a time, but you're not going to enjoy it. And then it creates a lot of food fear because you don't know how to come off of that diet. When you do come off of it, you're afraid of the things that you've been avoiding. I found that it doesn't really work. I did it myself. I had done low FODMAP diet, which in my opinion is the most restrictive and should absolutely not be followed long term. You can do it for, I would say, no more than a month, and you have to stop because it's so restrictive that you're not eating enough in general. Causes a lot of anxiety too. Like if you want to go out with your friends to dinner, you want to go out for drinks, you want to go to a friend's dinner party or baby shower, whatever, like you're so stressed about, oh my God, is there going to be enough food there that I can eat? Or am I going to have to starve? Or I'm going to be that weird person who brings like their entire meal with them to the event. So super restrictive diets, not my favorite. Also, the other aspect of a really strict protocol involves a lot of supplements. I think supplements can be great. I take supplements daily, but I don't take like 30 different supplements at a very specific schedule. And then you like have alarms set because you're like, I have to take this one at this time. Then I have to take this one at this time. It gets out of control. And again, it's stressful. Like you don't want to miss it. You don't want to accidentally take one with something that you shouldn't take. And it's super expensive. Like I've spent thousands of dollars on supplements. Easy. I'd actually throw up if I knew how much money I spent on supplements. And at the end of the day, they didn't do that much for me. Like, I was still bloated after every super strict protocol that I did. Even if I temporarily felt better, I wasn't feeling my best. And that was short-lived. Like, I would eventually just go back to feeling bloated and gross and all my other symptoms, whatever. So that is not my approach. I don't think we need to eliminate a ton of foods and spend a shitload of money on supplements that may or may not benefit us. My approach is a very holistic approach that considers the whole body, the whole person. So we look at the 4 pillars of health, I like to call it, which is nutrition, movement, stress, and sleep. So all 4 of these factors need to be optimized in your life for your body to be working as well as it can. And I don't do like a cookie cutter approach. Everybody gets the same meal plan. Everybody gets the same go to bed at this time. That doesn't work. Everybody is unique. Everybody is different. Everybody has different goals, Like if you're listening to this podcast, you probably want to eliminate bloating, but your reason for wanting to eliminate that bloat is going to be different than everyone else who I meet with, right? You have a certain vision for your future. You have your reasons for why you want to get rid of your bloat, get rid of your digestive issues, and that's going to set the stage for our action plan. So what steps you specifically need to take to make your goals, your vision come true. This approach is also going to give you the best and most long-lasting results because we're not just doing a temporary diet. We're not just sticking you on supplements for a short period of time. We're making sustainable changes in your life that you can continue doing, hopefully forever. And that's going to prevent the bloating and the dysbiosis, the constipation, diarrhea, whatever from returning because you've changed your life for the better. And it's something that we together have come up with and decided this fits into your life. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little intro episode, intro into gut health, intro into bloating, intro into myself and my practice. In future episodes, I'm definitely going to be diving a lot deeper into specific topics. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you have a certain topic that you're dying to learn more about, send me a DM on Instagram at beyond.bloated or an email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. I also have a website, www.beyondbloated.com, where you can learn more about working with me. So my signature program is on there, as well as my gut health blog. So I've got some recipes, some articles that I've written on specific gut health topics. So if you literally cannot wait until I cover that topic on the podcast, you can go there and read them. But other than that, I think we're done here today. So thank you so much for listening to this first episode of the Beyond Bloated Podcast, and I will see you all next week. Thank you for listening to the Beyond Bloated Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to share this podcast with your fellow gut goddesses. If you'd like to chat about today's episode, send me a DM on Instagram at beyond.bloated. Until next time, bye!